Alright guys, this is a Monster Energy Supercross 4, the full game, the full review. We have a ton to go over in a short period of time. The first part of this video is going to be some generic gameplay, just kind of showing you some different tracks, using some different riders, and I kind of want to go over the physics and how the game feels compared to past Supercross games, specifically Supercross 2 and 3. Because this game feels a little bit in between both those games. It mostly feels like Supercross 3, but it does have some parts of it that feel like 2. The part that feels like 2 is that the bike does feel heavier. It feels like the bike has more weight when you're jumping, landing, and in the corners. In 3, the bike felt a lot lighter, and you could corner the bike quicker, I guess. In this game, I wouldn't say it's worse, it's just different. In 2, the bike felt heavier, and the cornering was slower, more delayed. It feels more similar to that, but I wouldn't say it's delayed. It's just a bit slower compared to 3. But again, I would say that's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm glad that the bike feels like it has more weight to it. And the cornering, I mean, you can still square off a corner and everything. It's just if you just round the corner out, it is a bit slower, but in a good way. I'm glad that the bike feels like it has more weight to it. The whipping is the same as it was in 3, or in past milestone games where you push the sticks together, pull them apart to do the whip, either in the left or right direction. You do have pretty decent freedom of the rider and bike, similar to 3. It isn't complete free physics still, but I wouldn't say it's much different than it was in 3. So the biggest difference for me from 4 to 3 is that the rhythm sections, it feels like this game doesn't have quite as big of a skill gap as 3 did. So in 3, when you would mess up in a rhythm section or overjump or underjump, it really ate up your momentum. In this game, it still does, but if you overjump a tiny bit and maybe jump a little bit into the face of the next jump, you can still usually hit the line that you're trying to go for. So it punishes you and you can still crash and it eats up your momentum, but it just doesn't feel like you have to be quite as precise as you had to be in 3. So in those regards, I feel like I enjoyed 3 more than 4. I mean, it's still kind of an arcade simcade game, so it's not going to have a skill gap like MX Simulator or MX Bikes, but this game definitely feels like you don't get as punished for overjumping or underjumping. You still can crash and you still can mess up rhythm sections, but it just doesn't feel as easy as it was in 3. So my final opinions on it are that it is different from 3, but most similar to 3 out of all the Supercross games. And it feels like it takes a bit of inspiration from 2, mostly in the cornering and the added weight to the bike in the air and even on the ground. So overall, I feel like it's solid, and I feel like if you enjoyed 3 or enjoyed 2, or even if you didn't, this might be enough of a change that you might want to try it out. In this part, I want to talk about the AI because that's an important part about the game, and for the most part, the AI has been very similar in most milestone games. They're tough, but you know, after a while, you learn the track, you learn the game. They really aren't that tough. And in the alpha, I played the alpha a few months back, and the AI was super tough on realistic difficulty. And here, I feel like they toned them down a decent amount because they were so fast in the alpha that they had trouble staying on the track. They were off the track, cutting the track. It just, the path that they took wasn't that great. So they toned them down a bit, but they still can be fast. But you can see here, if you learn the track, or just have an idea of what's happening. The AI really isn't that big of a challenge. If you don't know the track, then yes, the realistic AI can be pretty tough, but overall I feel like they're not that tough, and they're very similar to most milestone games AI. Now for this part, I want to talk about the track editor. I was going to do a separate video, but it's a review, so I want to put it in there. This is the same track editor we had in 3. Like, exactly the same. The difference is it has a facelift on the UI, and they added a straight piece, which I show you at the beginning, and one jump. That's pretty much it. It is a bit of a disappointment. I feel like Supercross 1 still had the best track editor, but this one is still okay. If you didn't play Supercross or haven't played one, then the track editor is going to be awesome for you, and it's going to be fun and new and all that stuff. But if you did play 3, then this is the same, like identical. It feels a bit different because the physics are a bit different, but the choices, the pieces we have to choose from are the same, and we still can't turn pieces around like we could in Supercross 1. They need to fix that. But here's some gameplay on the tiny track we made. I wanted to show you it looks the same as 3, but again, it feels a bit different. The whoops, especially the whoops, because the physics are changed a bit. And customization. So you have the official teams like you had in 3. A ton of official teams to choose from. You can buy a team for credits, or it tells you you can earn that in the career. So the game suggests to you that you do this, you unlock these during the career. So I just wanted to show you some of the teams. The bike customization is similar to how it has been in the past. It's really deep, a customization of the bike and rider. But it is pretty much the same bike and rider customization we've had in the last few milestone games. Now, that's not a bad thing because the customization is really good. It's in-depth and just really deep customization where you can modify all the parts of the bike, the rider, all that good stuff. They did add some new, but it feels like most of the new is actually on the bike. The rider has some new. It's the same as it always is. It has some new, but a lot of old and reuse. But I mean, I wish it could all be new, but I'm not complaining about it because, again, the customization is always really good. I don't have much to complain about there. The main part I want to show you is that they did add a bunch of new different font to the name and number. So I'm just showing you some of them. Some of them are okay, some of them are really bad, but hey, at least they added some stuff. We've been asking for more numbers. Maybe it's not what we want, but they added it. So this is the career, the new features in the career, and you have skills. You have a skill tree. Once you unlock the first skill in futures, you unlock the next one until you get to pro. And I'm showing you all the skills you have in the bottom left corner. You can see what the skill is. This one I found fairly interesting because it says it reduces abilities penalty during injury. So I find that interesting, and here's the rest of the skills you can choose from. And then you see how far, how much you've upgraded those skills on the right in my abilities. Now they also did kind of bring back midweek training from Supercross 2. So overall, the career, it seems to be much improved, more reason to play, less generic. So good changes coming to the career in Supercross 4. At the very end here, I do have some compound gameplay for you. It is, it's not on the tracks, it's just the free roaming, free riding of the trails. And the trails, they're more of a path you have to take, but it's okay. The compound, it's pretty big, but I feel like it might not be as big as the compound in Supercross 3. And it has 4 Supercross tracks and 1 Motocross track. The Supercross tracks are different. They're really tiny and really tight, but they're okay. It's different. I don't know if it's as good as the factory test tracks we had in 3, but they're all right. And the motocross track, it's okay. I feel like it might be laid out better than in 3, but it's definitely shorter. It stays with the same theme as the Supercross tracks, where it's a short track. It's about a minute, and I'll show you all that stuff in a separate compound video, but for the review, I just kind of want to show you the compound in general. So overall, my final thoughts on the game is that it's good. I feel like this game is interesting because if you didn't enjoy Supercross 3, you might enjoy this one because it is a bit different. If you enjoyed Supercross 3, you might enjoy it because it's different. So I feel like it could grab both sides of the game. You enjoyed 3 or didn't. And if you enjoyed 2 but not 3, maybe you enjoy this one because it does have parts of the game that feel like 2. Overall, I feel like it's a solid game. It is worth picking up in my opinion. Whether you're hardcore or just a casual, I feel like this game is solid. The part I don't enjoy about it, the only part I don't enjoy about it is I feel like the skill gap is less apparent in this game as opposed to 3, but I have about 20 hours in the game, so that might change. My opinion might change about that after a while, but overall that's how I feel. So solid game in my opinion. But that's gonna wrap up this video. You guys and girls are absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for the support on the channel lately. It really does mean a lot. And until the next video, take it easy.